What up, Dokkaners? We are coming up on the big reveals for GDC 2026 tonight. So in this video and the next couple of videos, minus one Legend Summon video, I'm going to be going over my predictions on what I think the characters are going to be, the banners are going to be. For this one, we're just going to be starting with the characters. So we're going to be looking at Dokkan Festival, the Dokkan Festival's banner unit, and the Carnival. I think most people will agree on a couple of things before going into this video. The first is that it's going to be a Dokkan Festival Carnival hybrid. That has been the norm, the standard practice for many years now, with one exception, which I'll get to in a second. And the other thing is that it's going to be Namek Saga. All of this could be for nothing if Dokkan ultimately trolls us again, which they have been known to do in the past. So again, this is just my prediction. We could ultimately just be completely wrong. Now, speaking of this pattern breaking thing that Dokkan likes to do, when it comes to Carnival Dokkan Festival hybrids, it has been that way for a very long time, with the exception of the first 2 years. Dokkan Festival Carnival hybrid celebrations were first introduced back in 2022 when we had the STR LR Final Form Cooler and the Tech Bird Coup as the dual celebrations. Take your time. And during that celebration, that was where they first introduced Carnival characters, the upgraded version of the Yellow Coin LRs, which was a good thing because, well, it was a good thing in the sense that the character quality went up. It was a bad thing because people were upset about the fact that we got a new coin. I'm sure people are still upset. Personally, I would have preferred that they just, got their together when it comes to the Yellow Coin characters, but whatever, they want to make money. Screw that. Okay, so after they introduced it in 2022, when this celebration first came out, you would think all subsequent worldwide celebrations would also adopt the same policy, but they didn't, because during 2023, they reverted back to the dual Dokkan Festival celebration. And I remember I accidentally tweeted out my predictions for the banners, and I completely forgot that we had now done a Dokkan Festival Carnival hybrid. So inadvertently, my tweet about the predictions was a dual Dokkan Festival Part 1. And I got roasted because people were like, dude, we started a Dokkan Festival Carnival hybrid situation. Why are you predicting dual Dokkan Festival? You're stupid. A lot of the comments were like that. And you know what? I don't blame them. But then when the banner came out, everybody went completely silent because these trolls went back to dual Dokkan Festival. I think since then, they've reverted back to Dokkan Festival Carnival hybrid. But what I'm trying to say is you never know with these guys. If it makes sense, you've activated their trap card. Namek Saga makes sense to be Part 1. They could give us Boost Saga. I don't know. These guys are trolls. That's what they live to do. So that's just my point. Be on the lookout. Be ready for what is to come. Now, starting with the actual character predictions, it's a question of whether or not it's going to be Frieza or Goku as the Dokkan Festival. My prediction is Dokkan Festival Frieza. Simply because Frieza does not have a premium top tier final form character. Also, villains need more reps. We always get heroes all the time. We have an overabundance of superclass dominant characters, but we still are lacking a decent amount of extreme characters. We have been pushing in the right direction for sure with recent releases, but we don't have enough for me to be happy. I need more. I want Namek Saga to be first and foremost represented by Frieza. Frieza defines Namek Saga. Frieza is the main pushing force that made that arc as entertaining as it was, right? Let's just face it, it was. Frieza was such a dominant villain, such a compelling villain, that Frieza made the arc fun to watch. Frieza deserves to get top billing. Frieza Dokkan Festival makes sense. I don't want it to be full power Frieza. I would prefer, if anything, he starts out as a final form, and then if anything works his way to full power. I think a lot of people do want a full power Frieza to emerge at some point, because at that point, because of that, you could have like exploding Namek as a domain. You could introduce planetary destruction and all that stuff. Cool. But I think we got to start out as final form. I would have liked second form Frieza. Second form Frieza doesn't even have a summonable character. We just have the free to play. First form Frieza, actually, there is no first form Frieza. Well, there's the free to play. Yeah, there's just so many Friezas that we don't have. We have a third form Frieza banner unit, but he needs an easy A. He actually might get one during this celebration. We just need more Friezas. So starting out with that as the Dokkan Festival centerpiece is a good idea. That's really all I have to say about that. I do think that transforming into full power Frieza would be a good move, which means the Carnival character is going to be the Goku. I don't think anybody would disagree, but what they might disagree on is Kaioken or Super Saiyan or base. I personally would like Kaioken Goku because we don't really have a prominent Kaioken Goku, frankly, anywhere. Like if we compare Super Saiyan Gokus in general So I kind of narrowed it down to Super Saiyan Gokus that are in the Super Saiyans category. If we expand beyond the Super Saiyan category, it gets pretty ridiculous, but you can see my point. Like, the discrepancy between Super Saiyan Goku and Kaioken is pretty insane. I would personally like to have another Kaioken Goku, not a Saiyan Saga one, but a Namek Saga one that can also transform into Super Saiyan Goku. And I can already hear y'all commenting down below, ew, I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. These are my opinions. These are my choices. All right. This is just my predictions. I want it to be like that so that the Super Saiyan Goku can link up with any other Super Saiyan Goku out there. You start out with a Kaioken Goku who might be surprisingly tanky, functional in the slot 1. After that, when he transforms into the Super Saiyan Goku, you can shift someone like Birdku into the slot 1, or, you know, this guy can be a slot 1 or slot 2 character. This guy can work well with other Super Saiyan Gokus is ultimately my point. I don't want the same name issue to hinder the character's value from shining post-transformation. That's basically why I want Kaioken Goku to be the starting point. Just like this unit, if he's going to transform, let him transform as well. This is about both Goku and Frieza and their antagonistic relationship during the arc. And this can also lead into some nice easy or super easy A's for the transforming Frieza and Goku characters. But we'll get to that in another video, if anything. So that just leaves the question of the banner unit. What will the banner unit be for this Dokkan Festival Frieza? Just because it's Frieza doesn't necessarily mean the banner unit is going to be of the same class. We saw during GDC 2025, Omega Shenron was the Dokkan Festival LR for part 2, but the banner unit was STR Pan, right? Yep, called it. Dokkan Festival Omega Shenron, banner unit was Pan. Has nothing to do with Omega Shenron, but has everything to do with the Carnival unit. And even part 1 was ridiculous because it was Blue Goku and Fatso, right? It had nothing to do with the Dokkan Festival leader skills. So that does not prevent us from making a Krillin prediction, but guys, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. You know I gotta do it. It's the GOAT. It just has to be. Krillin, I think probably would make more sense, but we have Krillin characters. I think that is okay. Look, bias aside, we have a good Krillin. Granted, he's free to play. We have a second Krillin who is summonable and relevant, but we have 0 Zarbons that are not free to play or not crap, or both. This Zarbon is not a Zarbon. This is Zarbon and that ugly dude. Okay, no, that is unacceptable. Zarbon deserves a proper unit release, and if it's not going to be the Dokkan Festival, because we all know that's never going to happen, even though I predicted every single time it never comes to be true, let him be part of this celebration, please. I beg of you. If there's one thing I'm begging you to agree with me on, it's Zarbon as the banner unit. Please comment down below. I support Zarbon. Just do it, okay? Just do it. It'll make me 10 times happier, please. It's got to be Zarbon. It's got to be the GOAT. Okay. So now that we've taken care of the personnel issue, what are we going to do in terms of leader skills? This is actually where I originally had a certain idea, and I was talking about this with Minato. We actually did a video, so I'm going to drop that link down below. You guys can go check out Minato's video. But I am actually going to pivot away from that. I was originally kind of thinking about the concept of Z bosses and Z villains. Z bosses and Z villains is just a continuation of the same concept that we've had now for 2 different times. Super bosses, super villains. I think that came afterwards. I think GT bosses and GT villains, GT heroes and GT bosses were the first. This is an all-encompassing term that basically applies to heroes and villains. Although bosses would be more of like the head honchos. So a couple of minions would fall between the cracks in either one of these. But for these two specifically, I don't think that there were that many minions that kind of got lost, right? Because we got all the main. Did we miss anything? I mean, honestly, like, what other GT villain is not listed here? I don't actually think we're missing anything. We got Super 17. We pretty much covered it all. So for GT and Super, they're both much smaller versions of Dragon Ball compared to Z. So this is less of an issue. But I think if we were to have Z bosses, it would basically be a repeat of Sworn Enemies, because it's essentially covering like all the big bads of Z. Although Sworn Enemies doesn't include Vegeta. So Vegeta would be included in here. And are all the different forms of Buu in here? Yes, they are all in here. So yeah, it would just basically be Sworn Enemies plus Vegeta minus Tao. So there's a little bit of redundancy in there. So because of that, and also because of a very good point that you guys brought up on a recent live stream, I want to make a change. I actually want to bring back this format. This is a very rare archetype where it integrates both the primary, secondary combination formula, but also includes a final catch-all for either super class or extreme class. I think that this would actually be a nice formula to bring back, because this can also provide an all-encompassing way for characters like Z minions or Z villains to still be included on leader skills. If we were to introduce a Z boss category for Frieza, then that would mean Zarbon wouldn't be included, Dodoria wouldn't be included, Apul, Ramon, Kui, none of those guys would be included under Z boss specifically. But if we were to do something like that Fusion Zamasu leader skill, where we have a way for extreme class to be thrown in, then I think that this would actually work out. So here's my proposed leader skill. This was originally supposed to be Z bosses. So before I included this part, this was actually Z bosses, but I've changed it. Planetary Destruction, Terrifying Conquerors, final trump card, key +3, 200% HP, 170% attack and defense, plus an extra stats +50 to characters who also belong to Battle of Fate, Namek Saga, or Wicked Bloodline category. Extreme class, key +3, attack and HP attack and defense 150, Planetary Destruction, Terrifying Conquerors, final trump card category characters excluded. Meaning, just like the Fusion Zamasu back in the day, these extreme class characters could either be at 150% or extreme time travelers or extreme final trump card characters could actually be at 180%. As such, now extreme characters could either be 150% or they could be, well, 200% if they're extreme Battle of Fate, extreme Planet Namek Saga, extreme Wicked Bloodline. I think the only thing that I'm actually not okay with here, you know what we should do? You know what we should do? No, okay. Well, you know what? Whatever. It's my prediction. I'm going to be wrong anyway. I was just thinking, now it's kind of a bigger gap between full compatibility or partial compatibility. It's either 150% or it's 200%. Whatever. It's fine. Yeah, I think I like this a little bit more because this removes the need to introduce a new category, but still we're having a very unique set of leader skills. And also, don't forget, this part of the primary lead, I was originally suggesting that this could just bump up to 250. I actually would like to amend that because Minato brought up a good point. Instead of just having it be HP 200%, what if we shift it around and have the 200% portion of the primary stat go to attack or defense? It would kind of give this leader skill archetype a little bit more longevity, allowing us to mix and match and kind of mess around with different versions of this leader skill before ultimately moving up. We don't need to jump the gun and go past the 220% leader skill just yet. We can have a little bit of the stat line going into the 250 range, but not all of it. Now you can choose, hey, do I prioritize health, or do I prioritize more force, or do I prioritize more protection? What is more important in a leader skill? This would actually introduce a very nice conversation, interesting conversation that breeds more strategy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually going to keep it this way. If anything, we can change this to attack. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that. Attack plus 200%. HP and defense 170. All right. And then we put the rest into this one. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think that this is pretty cool. If we decide to abandon this altogether, then it would have just been something like this. Z bosses, Battle of Fate, Z bosses, Wicked Bloodline. Ugh. Actually, I don't like this at all. Yeah, you know what? The more that I look at it, the more I dislike this category. But my idea behind it was that even still, like if we do something like this, the minions would be covered because they'd be Terrifying Conquerors and Planet Namek Saga. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm going back. Let's do this. This is my final prediction for the leader skill for Dokkan Festival, Final Form Frieza, and to Full Power Frieza. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this one. And that brings us to our last one, which is the Carnival Goku. I think physical would be a good one because I don't think we have any physical Super Saiyan Gokus in this Planet Namek Saga. We have Int, we have STR. Whoops, that's about it. And then actually, you know what? Beyond that, just regular Super Saiyan Gokus, the prominent ones would be like Tak Birdku, STR Hachia Goku. I just don't think we have too many physical Super Saiyan Gokus in general that people kind of bring up in conversation. So that's kind of why I did that. Plus, physical is super effective on Int, which, you know, kind of works poetically because Goku beats Frieza. So this is my new Carnival Goku, and his leader skill will be a double lead, just like the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta Daima character. Ki +4, stats plus 220% for Namek Saga. And then also Super Saiyans, Ki +3, 220%. I think ultimately, whatever happens, one of these units has to lead the Super Saiyan Trio unit that we got for the EZA during the countdown. And I think that this unit leading Super Saiyans just makes all the sense in the world. Super Saiyans needs a stronger leader skill. So instead of 200%, it can now be 220, leaving the Super Saiyan Trio to be a more naturally placed slot 2, slot 3. That's not a lead. Because if you run this guy as a lead, you might have to run him as a set. Actually, you know what? No. Yeah, you can have the Super Saiyan Trio as your main lead. This guy can be your friend lead, and all is well with the Super Saiyan team. So I think that this would be good. This isn't too dominant of a leader skill. Like, now that we're kind of moving into dual leads for Carnival characters, I think the main concern as a design philosophy is to not have it be two very broad categories. It's more focused. So for Vegeta, it was Daima, which is very small, and then it was Vegeta's family, which is pretty large. Here, Namek Saga, as much as I hate to admit it, it's a pretty small and pretty lousy category. So it's not like we're getting too much of a pickup with that leader skill coverage. But then Super Saiyans is far broader than Planet Namek Saga. So I think it works out. So these are my final predictions for the characters, the leader skills, the typings. As far as anything extra, I suppose, if anything, someone's got to have the exploding Namek domain. So it'll probably be Frieza, you know, planetary destruction or something like that. I hate EX attacks. I truly hate them, but I think that's probably also going to be in there. And who knows? Let's see if they introduce this whole like cover mechanic thing in the new characters. I think we're all, I mean, I think the data heads are mostly thinking that that's going to be a Dokkan Frontier thing, but let's see. So that's pretty much all I got. Please, everybody, you know, put your hands up in the air for Zarbon. Zarbon deserves some shine here. So yeah, please. It would mean a lot to me. All right, thank you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on my ideas, my predictions, my theories for what is to come for the characters in GDC 2026. Do you like my theories? Do you not like them? What are the leader skills that you would prefer in terms of, you know, the Frieza and the Goku? Anything that I'm missing? Any blatant, obvious thing that I'm missing out? I suck at this sort of thing, so, you know, let me know. But what do you think about Zarbon? Zarbon's pretty awesome, right? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you're going to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.